Is it important to be like the part of the brand itself when you're trying to communicate with your customers online?
I think it's inevitable, especially if you're working with a large community, that people will get to know who you are. People in the Moz community definitely learned over time that, I was part of the community team. So I was someone they could reach out to ask questions. They learned.
So it was you telling
I
the
mean,
people out there.
Other people on the team, they knew as well.
Mm-hmm.
And people learned very quickly that I was the person programming MozCon. So I got a lot of fun pitches in my inbox for people who wanted to speak, even though they weren't supposed to do that.
I have the same situation.
Right? People learn who you are, and then they contact you directly. And I know, some brands out there are scared that people are going to like learn who their employees and they'll become too attached to the brand. But I think, if you have a strong brand, you're like, it can only benefit you to have people attached, right? We are, we're more likely as people to be empathetic, to be genuine with people we know are people. And like, if you look at a brand and you're just like, oh, they're just a logo, like you as a customer or as some, an angry tweeter may not treat them as a person, and you may not have that level of respect, and it's easier to treat them as an object, not considering that, there's a person behind that. As a community manager, a lot of times when I see brands having a bad day on social media, and I know they're having a bad day because of something they didn't do, like it had nothing to do with them. It was a corporate decision or, a bad PR move that had absolutely nothing to do with them. I'm like, oh, I feel terrible for that person who is answering their social media. You're just like, oh my gosh, I'm like, so sorry. Like, I think about like the people like behind like Kellogg's social media, like they were getting harassed by like tons of people. And like, it's a person behind their social media who's not in charge of corporate decisions, who just has to deal with this influx. So, how do you as a employer make sure that, people on your team are getting, treated well, that they're not getting burnout if these things happen? And then how do you as a person who, maybe you have every right to be upset with someone. Like, every time I think about anytime anyone contacted us about billing issues at Moz, like, of course it's going to be super sensitive. Like, you're on a budget, you're working for a company, someone's probably trusting you with a company credit card. Like, those are big issues that, can impact your job if your, boss feels like you did wrong by the company. And how can you like have that personal connection and conversation and talk with someone who's upset, or if you're on the other side, if you're the angry community member, how can a brand who's making it more personal make it a little better experience for themselves by being personal and having that person be like, oh, I know I'm talking to a real person, I'm not just like yelling at some sort of monolith behind a logo.